Hi there, in this video we're going to go through how to complete the ad audience and budget calculator. If you're looking for this worksheet, you can visit the Canvas, go to the worksheets tab, and then down at the bottom you'll see the audience and budget calculator. When you click on it, it'll open up the PDF in a new tab, and from here you can download the PDF and complete it in Adobe Acrobat, or you can print it out and complete this manually. So completing this worksheet, you'll want to do this when you're planning your next campaign to get a sense of your budget and audience needs. It's really important to have that mapped out before you start a campaign so you understand the profitability of your campaigns. All right, so first things first is we name our ad campaign, and what we do is we write down the name that it's going to be called when we put it into Facebook or Google or wherever else we're setting up this campaign. There's two sections to this calculator. So there's one that's for signing up like non-revenue generating. So this can be email signups, it could be requests for more information, it could be meeting requests, anything that you want, but it's anything that is a non-revenue generating campaign. And then there's a section that is for revenue generating. So if you're selling something, how you would want to come and fill this section out. And then it'll calculate in both sections how to calculate your conversion rate and be able to understand success. All right. So in the first section, it's all about non-revenue generating. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is map out how many signups do you want in this campaign. So how many people do you want to, if you're collecting emails, how many do you want to collect during this campaign? And then the next thing is to look at how much are you willing to spend per sign up. So typically this would cost anywhere from $1 to $3, depending on your industry and your location. It might be more, it might be less. So you can fill that out here, and then this gives you what your campaign budget is. So if you want 100 signups and you're willing to pay $3 for every sign up, then your campaign budget would be $300. All right, so there's a spot here for 3 different ads, and this is based on your traffic temperature. So there's ad 1, which is cold audience, ad 2, which is warmer audience. So this could be like custom audiences, people that have visited your website or watched your videos on social media. And then the third one is the warmest audience, and this is typically people that have purchased from you in the past, that are clients, that kind of thing. So you can run 3 ads in your campaign. You can choose it's just for cold audiences. That part's up to you, but they're all filled out the same way. All right, so for the cold audience, what you would want to do is if your click-through rate is, and so a typical click-through rate from Facebook with a cold audience to your website is typically 1%. And your conversion rate is, so a conversion rate would be how many people visited that, say, landing page. And of the people that visited the landing page, what percentage of those people actually converted into a sign up? And so what you'll want to do here is figure out your needed audience size to reach your profit goals. So let's do an example here. So we said that we wanted to have 100 signups in this campaign. Well, if we take 100 and we divide it by the click-through rate, so that would be, we'll use the industry average of 1%, then we're going to say 100 divided by 1% equals 10,000. And then from here, what is your conversion rate? So let's say our landing page, we're expecting that the landing page is going to have a conversion rate of 30%. Then we would want to come in here and divide that by the 30%. And then when you do that, you can see how many impressions you're going to need. So I would mark in this box 33,333 is the needed audience to reach the profit goals. So with our budget of $300, we want to reach 33 and some odd impressions. And so you would go through and do this for each type of audience. Now, the thing with warm audiences and like hot audiences in comparison to cold audiences, the difference is that they typically have a higher click-through rate, and then they also have a higher conversion rate. So you'll have to figure that out for yourself, or set baselines in terms of what you want to see as a click-through rate and a conversion rate, and it'll help you look at the needed audience size. All right, so then from there, you're going to want to calculate your conversion rate. Once you've already had your ad running, you'll want to look at how well it's doing. So if you look at the number of link clicks that you received during the ad campaign, you'll want to mark it here. Then you're going to want to look at the number of results and conversions you received. So how many people actually signed up? Now in this example, we were shooting for 100 signups. So let's say that we had 80 signups actually. And so we would mark that here and say we had 1,000 link clicks. Then what we'd want to do following this here is that we would take that 80, we would divide it by the number of link clicks. Let's, for this example, just say there was 1,000 people that clicked on the ad, 80 people signed up. If we hit equals, then we get this decimal point, which, because it's a percentage, we'll have to multiply by 100, and then we get our conversion rate, which is 8% here. So we know that this ad campaign, the conversion rate was 8%. So that's how you do the non-revenue generating section of this sheet. So in the next section, it's all about things that you're actually selling. So the first thing you're going to want to look at is how much is the thing that you're selling. Let's say it's $100. And how many sales do you want in this to make during this campaign? So if you wanted to sell 50 of these $100 unit items. So from there, you can look at what your potential revenue will be. If you have an item that's $100 and you want to sell 50 of them, then we know that your potential revenue here is $5,000. Now, something to look at is how much does it cost to make per unit? So let's say you sell it for $100, but it costs you $50 to make. Then you'll want to mark that down here, and then from there we can actually look at the potential profit. So to be able to figure that out, what we're going to want to do is, what are we selling it for? So that's box A, minus how much it costs to make per unit. So that's minus the cost. So let's say it costs us $50. And then what we're going to want to do is multiply that by how many sales we wanted during the campaign. So we had originally said 50. So here our potential profit is $2,500. So down here you could say, what percentage of your profit do you want to budget for advertising? So of your profit, do you have a baseline that's set for marketing? Is it 20%? Is it 30%? So let's just say that you're willing to invest 20% of your profits into marketing. Well, then if you put 20% here, you would be able to figure out what your ad budget is for the campaign. So to calculate your ad budget for that, you would want to take take what your potential profit is. So here we had calculated that out at $2,500. Then we're going to want to multiply that by the percentage that you're willing to invest in your budget. So if we had said 20%, when we do that, then we look here and it's $500. So that's what the ad budget would be for that particular campaign. Now, I'm not going to go through this again because we went through it in the first section in terms of calculating your click-through rate and your conversion rate and figuring out what your audience size is. Once you have that, you can really start going through and saying, okay, well, if I need an audience size of, say, 10,000 people or 100,000 people, but when you work out the math in terms of potential profit and what you can invest, only comes to, say, $200, well, it's probably unlikely that you're going to be able to get that many impressions for your budget. So something needs to be adjusted here. And so this is where filling this out and getting a good indication about the health of your campaign and what realistic budgets and audiences would be is really important. I know that was a pretty beefy explanation. So if you're filling this out and you're not really quite sure, if you're kind of stuck at some parts, or if math just isn't your jam, feel free to drop us a line in the Facebook group, or if you want to submit the question for a coffee club Ask Me Anything topic, you can do that as well through your the tab in your account. Thank you.